Definitely. Hello, and welcome to the United Stand. We are live. I'm joined by Xander there, as you can hear. We are here live for our World Cup preview. We were like, when do we fit it in? And we've decided that we'll get it done this afternoon, Xander, which is not before time, being as the World Cup starts tomorrow. Anyway, how are you, pal? First of all, I'm just going to fly straight into it. Who do you think is going to win the World Cup?
I mean, that's a big question to start off with, Mark. I'm well, thank you very much for asking. There's a few teams, definitely, isn't there? There's a few teams. You can look at the likes of Germany, Spain, although we know the circumstances in terms of them. But for me, it's got to be Brazil. After the last World Cup, disappointing, getting spanked by Germany. I think it was 7-1, wasn't it? I think they're going to be back for revenge. And I don't know, I look at their side of the likes of Neymar, Coutinho, Marcelo at left back. They've got fantastic players all over the pitch. So I'm going for Brazil, but I know there's a lot of good other teams as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think I did mine on my channel last night and I went with Brazil, but the Spain thing's very, very interesting. I've got the live comments at working now, and this is a slight change on our... You're getting a little bit of a glimpse of what our World Cup watch-along studios are going to look like. As you can see, the first game is Russia-Saudi Arabia tomorrow. It is currently 0-0 because it's not kicked off. So slight little changes for the World Cup. So hopefully you will all be joining us throughout the World Cup. We are somehow, Xander, we're going to try and cover absolutely every game and do a watch-along for them, which, probably most of you are going to watch the game anyway. But, I mean, I'm wearing my England top. You're not English, you're Dutch. People might not realise that. You're also based in Spain. You mentioned Spain there. Obviously, I reacted to the new Real Madrid coach, ex-Spain coach, as of this morning. I actually predicted it last night that Spain-Brazil would be the final. I don't believe that anymore. I think that Spain have got massive problems, but you're based out there. What are people thinking about it?
Well, I've actually got quite a lot of reaction. I'm in various group chats over here with my football team and all that sort of stuff. So I've got quite a lot of reactions. It's mixed at the moment, pal. Some people are furious with the Spanish Federation, saying it's ridiculous to sack a manager so early or so close to a World Cup. It's just madness, which I do think it is. But other people are sort of going along the lines of, well, it's this, what's his name? I can't never pronounce it. Anyway, some people are saying that it's the manager's fault. Yeah, and some people are saying it's the manager's fault for not going about it the right way and not notifying the Spanish FA of him signing for Real Madrid and things like that. So it's mixed decisions, but both ways, people are very angry.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting what they've done, and I can't believe in many ways what they have done, because as much I just liken it to if we had a manager at Manchester United that I wasn't really a big fan of, then at England, I'd want him to go. But would I want him to go 2 days before a big game in the World Cup, 1 day before the start of the World Cup? No, I wouldn't. So I'm very, very surprised. I think there's a lot of egos, like I said, involved. But Real Madrid are probably to blame more than anybody. Quite arrogant to do what they did yesterday on the eve of the World Cup. I mean, I called Griezmann arrogant to be still messing around with his future. But I don't think Spain. I mean, Joe says it in the live comments. Spain don't have problems. I disagree with you, Joe. If you listen to what was said this morning, people like Sergio Ramos really didn't want the manager to go. It's his new manager. This manager that they've sacked has been involved at under 20s level. It will disrupt the team. You cannot move away from that, Xander. It will disrupt the team. It's just how much it's going to disrupt it. They have got good players, but you get rid of a manager who's took you through qualification, who's been building towards this on the eve of the World Cup. All you can do really is use the assistant and the coaches that are there.
I mean, I don't think it needs explaining. He's been with them, like you say, all the way through the qualifiers and all the friendlies, implementing his style of play, implementing his, philosophy on that national side, bringing them all together. I mean, they've got 48 hours until they play Portugal, which I will be doing, by the way, guys. So do tune in for that. But like you say, it's absolute madness, and I think we're all in shock. I think we actually are all in shock, and it will actually be interesting to see how much it does affect Spain now going into the World Cup. It'll be interesting to see that, won't it?
Well, Joe Lawrence says he deserves to be sacked. He went the wrong way about it. To be honest with you, I sort of do agree with that as well. I think there are two sides to this. I think announcing that you're leaving 2 days before a World Cup isn't great either. I think it's been handled badly. But personally, I think Spain have basically foregone a World Cup, and they only come round every 4 years. And I think the manager would have been committed to the World Cup, and the Spanish Federation are obviously annoyed by it. But I think it would have been better for everybody if they just said, "Yeah, we're really annoyed, but pack your things when we're out, but let's go for it." I mean, interestingly, when you look at Spain's group, you've got Portugal in there. They're playing on Friday night, as Xander says, and then you've got the. I think they've got Morocco and Iran in their group. So Morocco aren't particularly bad. Iran probably the worst in the group. Shocks can happen, but I'm more thinking that I've looked at this before. Group B sort of pairs off with Group A, and Group A, second in Group B plays first in Group A, and I'm just trying to have a quick look at where first in Group B plays. First in Group B, say second in Group A. So Group A is, I mean, the path to the final is not bad for Portugal or Spain, really, because you're going to be playing Egypt, Russia, Uruguay, or Saudi Arabia in the first knockout group. So it's interesting. I personally think Portugal will do quite well, Xander. I mean, we're obviously looking at Group B first, but because of Spain. But I do think Portugal will do well. They are the European Championship holders. They have got Ronaldo. They seem to work hard. They've got a good discipline, as they showed in the Euros. They could do quite well, Portugal. Group A, Uruguay, Egypt, Russia, Saudi Arabia. In the context of the tournament, you'd only think Uruguay from there, who are a well-organised side.
Yeah, well, they've got Jimenez and Godin as their two centre-backs. Also, United fans, Varela plays for them at right-back as well. I think he's going to the World Cup at least. So, like you say, you only really expect Uruguay from that to really go through in the latter stages of the World Cup. But there's always a shock, isn't there? You never know. I doubt it, but Egypt do have Mohamed El Neni and, of course, Mohamed Salah as well. So that they could prove some troubles as well. But, we'll have to wait and see, won't we?
I certainly do think that, Group A, Group B, they play each other in the group stages, in the first knockout stages. And I still think Spain and Portugal will be into the quarterfinals, having beaten both of whoever comes through Group A. So I don't really see any issues with that. Groups. Let's do England's groups next, because they're Group G and H. England, Belgium, Panama, Tunisia, and then the winners or runners-up will play one of Poland, Senegal, Colombia, or Japan. So I mean, I think England could effectively struggle against the Colombia. But what are your thoughts on England, Xander? I mean, I think anything better than the first knockout stage is good. Just get out the group, and then anything's a bonus.
Well, yeah, I'd agree with you. To be fair, if you can nick a result against Belgium, which of course would be difficult, then you'd either have Poland, presuming Colombia come first. You'd have Poland, Senegal, or Japan. So quarterfinals is definitely achievable. I think it would be a success, a quarterfinal tournament. But like you say, there's no real pressure on this side at the moment. It is quite young. The media haven't been hyping it up, thank God. I think, look, you've got the England front line, as we saw against Nigeria, is very, very fluid. The likes of Dele Alli, Raheem Sterling, Jesse Lingard, Harry Kane up front. It is quite an exciting forward line. My issues with England are more in the midfield and the defence. Like you say, though, I think a quarter-final stage end for Liverpool in the World Cup would be a success.
For Liverpool, it would be in the World Cup.
Did I say Liverpool?
Yeah, you're Liverpool, man, you are.
Nah.
BKD Limited is right. Poland do have a good team. And I just want to say that I think this is going to be... I'm hoping it's going to be one of the best World Cups ever. I'm older than a lot of you, and I remember 90, and I remember 94, and I remember 2006, and I think there's been some good World Cups and bad World Cups. And I think the one thing that the World Cup and international football needs is a more diverse playing field, not only in diverse in the way that African teams need to do well, and North American teams, and hopefully some Asian teams, but also the dominance. I don't want somebody to win it who's won it before. And I know that means no France, no Brazil, no Germany, no Spain, but I'd be absolutely ecstatic if somebody wins. And I know England have won it before, but we're not going to win it. So I would love a Colombia or a Mexico or even a Senegal to win it. I would be absolutely ecstatic. I don't know whether that will quite happen, but what I am expecting is a far more level playing field. I think we are going to see... I mean, even like I was saying, Morocco, they've got a lot of players playing in Europe. You might not have heard of a lot of them, Benicia, obviously, but there are a lot of players playing around Europe. Peru are very interesting. Not many players playing in Europe. One or two. I think Farfan plays over in Russia, but they've got a lot of players playing around South America. Mexico, the same. So you'll be surprised when you see these. I mean, even like Croatia, they've got a very good team. Rakitic, Modric, Kovacic, Mandzukic, Perisic, anybody with an itch. But they've got a good team. So I'm hoping that those teams are going to turn up and really give us a tournament. That's where my excitement comes in this, Sander. I suppose I'm a champion of the underdog. I don't mind. What I don't want to see is people like Argentina and Germany fluking it. Not turning up but scraping through in the quarterfinals and everything like that. If they turn up and they beat Croatia 4-0, fair play. But if it's going to be a tight game, I really hope that the underdogs come through. Serbia as well, as Kieran Burns said.
I think everyone's a man of the underdog or a woman of the underdog. We all like to see, that showed when Leicester won the league. We were all ecstatic for them, other than obviously United fans who actually wanted to win the league. But I think we all want Croatia, Serbia, Senegal, like you say, to do well. It mixes it up and it does make it more exciting. Whether they will, I very highly doubt it. I think the likes of Germany, like you say, and Brazil and Spain are far too strong with far too much quality to lose against the likes of Senegal and Croatia. But you never know. I mean, that's football. Anything can happen. So we'll have to wait and see.
That's football. Nice little plug there as well. But yeah, it's. I mean, somebody just said there the quality of international football is not great. Look, I've said Jesse Lingard. I think Jesse Lingard's going to have a good World Cup. What I'm not going to do as a Manchester United fan, and you should be the same about Raheem Sterling, Gary Cahill, John Stones, if they play for your club and they have a good World Cup, don't think they're coming back to your club and being world class. I would rank international football at low-end Premier League, high-end Championship with some of these teams. It's crap standard. It's not a good standard. The reason for that is club football is more important to everybody now, and also these players only get together for a few weeks. You can't build tactics or anything like that. It really is just a mishmash. And that's why teams like Mexico do tend to do quite well, because they play a lot of international games. But the quality's not good. I mean, this is... What I would say about England is, just before we move on to one of the groups, is that it's one of the worst England squads I've ever seen. It's dreadful. But that's not really Southgate's fault. There's not a lot to pick from. I mean, I was driving home yesterday and I heard somebody on Talk Sport saying, get rid of Southgate. There's no excitement. There's no game changer like Shelvey. And I just like, John Joe Shelvey. I mean, he plays for Newcastle. Exactly, that's the problem. So I think England could do... Part of me wants to say they could if everything went their way and they played well, they could make the semis. They won't win it because at some point they'll have to play a penalty shootout and then they're out. It's psychological, but the standard's not great, and I think that could benefit England.
What it is though, Mark, with England, quickly just to finalise on that, it is one of the more cohesive teams that we've seen in a little while.
The system's good. I like the system if it works.
The system looks good, and the players seem to actually just get on, and they really want to play together. We haven't seen that in a long time. Frank Lampard came out a little while ago in an interview saying the problem with that golden generation was when they got together, due to the fact that they all played in the Premier League and were really hot rivals, when they got together with the national team, they all sat separately. They didn't want to really get together because they all they were rivals, weren't they? It doesn't necessarily it looks like that with this England side, which if you're English is positive, isn't it?
It definitely is. So England and Belgium we think will come through. I mean, I think if England get Senegal or Colombia, they could go out. But I think Belgium will be in the quarterfinals as well. So in the quarterfinals, we've got Spain, Portugal from Group A and B, both from Group B, but they'll have to play each other from Group A. And then I think, let's be optimistic and say England and Belgium from Groups G and H. Let's go to Groups C and D. So you've got France, Australia, Peru, Denmark, and then we've got Argentina, Iceland, Croatia, Nigeria. In relation to France's group with Peru and Australia and Denmark, I think last night I said France and Peru, and a lot of people gave me a lot of stick for that, but I think Peru are going to surprise a few, and that rhymes. I do. I think France will get through. I think France were much the same as Spain for me. They'll have enough quality to get through the group, surely, but I think they'll come unstuck against a better team, because I think France and Belgium have the same problem. Great squads,
Yeah.
crap managers.
Not only that, but I don't know whether they've got that. I mean, we saw it in the Euros, didn't we? They get all the way to the final and just bottle it. Is this France side just a bottling side? I don't know whether they've actually got that winning mentality, that hardcore desire to win, which could come from above in terms of Deschamps, but also could come from the players themselves. So, like you say, I definitely do think France will get through the groups and the quarterfinal. I think they'll reach minimum the quarterfinals, minimum, surely. Like you say, they've got an abundance of talent in that squad. But whether they've got that winning mentality, we didn't see it in the Euros. Maybe they'll bring that into this World Cup. I don't know.
Well, if France get through their group, which I think they will, they'll have to play probably the runners-up if they win their group of Argentina, Iceland, Nigeria, Croatia, which will be a challenge for France. It will be because people think Argentina are going to run through that group, and with Messi and the players they've got, they should do. But they did absolutely awful in qualifying and were quite lucky in some ways to even be here. Croatia are a good team as well. Nigeria could cause problems, and Iceland are fantastic for such a small nation. Did well in the Euros, qualified for the World Cup. Who do you think is going to come out of that group?
For me, it will be Argentina number 1 and Croatia number 2. Like you say, Argentina have got a fantastic squad, although their defence is quite dodgy. I think they've got Caballero in goal now.
They are defensively not great.
Defensively very weak. But
I don't think their midfield's as good anymore either. I think they've got a great attack, but defensively in their midfield, they're a bit dodgy.
Yeah, I mean, players like Mascherano are getting on as well. I don't know if he's gone to the World Cup. But, I think, like you say, they've got a fantastic attack that they should outscore teams, which is why I do think they'll get through and top their group. But for me, number 2, Croatia. I think, like you say, Perisic, Mandzukic, Kovacic, Modric, all the itch, like you say, all the itches. But I think Croatia have got too much quality to not make number 2 in that group, I think.
Well, the interesting thing there then is that they obviously have to play from France's group. So if it went to plan, Argentina win their group, France win their group, you're probably going to get France playing Croatia and Argentina playing, I believe, Peru, because I don't think Denmark are that good. I actually think Peru will knock Argentina out. And then France-Croatia, again, that's a tough game for France. So I wouldn't like to say who's going to go through there. I mean, France-Croatia, you probably just lean towards France if they turn up. But Argentina-Peru could be a very interesting. I think the knockout stage is going to be very, very interesting.
Why are you backing Peru so much, Mark, then? Because I'll be honest, I don't know much about them. You seem fairly confident in them. Why is that?
I love South American football, and I think that when you look at the qualifying, they did very, very well. They've got a very good... they've got their star striker back who had a doping ban. They've got a really good working team ethic. Most of their players play in South America. I just think... I might be totally wrong with it, but I just think they're going to be a surprise package. And obviously, they've played Argentina, and I think if they got them, they'd pretty much know what to do. But I might be totally wrong on it, but... and then we've got Group E and F, which is Brazil, Switzerland, Serbia, and Costa Rica. And then we've got South Korea, Sweden, Germany, Mexico, which I think is a good group as well. You've gone for Brazil to win it. Obviously, they got smashed in Rio in the Brazil World Cup 4 years ago. They're a little bit more organised now. I still think they're very Neymar centric. What is it about Brazil that you think makes them your favourites, especially when we're going to be talking about Germany in a minute, who've got such a fantastic squad?
Yeah, I just think I don't know what it is with Brazil. I just feel like you said, they got spanked in Rio, didn't they? In their home country. It was embarrassing. I feel like they would have learned something from that. I feel like they'd be out to really prove themselves in this tournament. They've got Neymar, who's just taking the piss in Ligue 1, isn't he? He's playing so well. Yes, he is coming back from injury, but regardless, a 70% Neymar is still a bloody good one. With the likes of Philippe Coutinho as well, Marcelo at left back, like I said, Miranda. They've just got an abundance of talent. Alisson in goal. And for some reason, I just feel like they'll have that desire to prove everyone wrong and show that last 4 years ago was a blip. And, they are going to make that right.
I've been on about Brazil for quite a while. All I've said about Brazil is they are outsiders, and people go, oh, some people do. They'll go, what are you on about? Brazil outsiders? And actually, when you look at Brazil, they were not great in 2014 in their own World Cup, and they aren't. I know they've won lots of World Cups, but that's reputation. They're not favourites going into this tournament, but I agree. I think I think they are one of my favourites to win it. The only thing I would say is that 58 was the last time anybody from South America won a World Cup, which is, 50, 60 years ago. So it would take some effort to do it. But I do think they'll get out of that group. They'll need to... I mean, the amazing thing about this is if Brazil or Germany slip, like if Brazil and Germany finish top, they avoid each other. They'll play the second place teams from each. But if one of them finishes first and the other plays second, not even the quarterfinals, you could see Brazil-Germany, which would be... I think Brazil, you'd wonder whether psychologically they're already beaten after what happened to them 4 years ago. Maybe Germany are a bit of a voodoo team for them now. But the German group is very interesting as well. Well, I say it's interesting. You've got Mexico, Sweden, South Korea. I personally think Sweden are crap. I know that I think again reputation with Sweden because they always do quite well, but they weren't good 2 years ago with Zlatan. I was watching a lot of Sweden because United were linked to Zlatan and did sign him, and they were rubbish. And I don't think they've improved a hell of a lot since then. South Korea, a bit like Japan, bit of an unknown entity. Mexico always tend to do well. So I think Germany will cruise through that group, and maybe that group is so cruisable that whoever's playing up front for Germany could be a real golden boot contender. But Brazil and Serbia, I'd say Group F. Group E, Xander, and then from Group F, I know you're going to do Germany-Mexico on Sunday, which I think is going to be a great game. Do you think it will be those two ultimately who make it through?
I do, yeah. I do think it will be Germany number 1 and Mexico number 2. Mexico got, quite a lot of talent in their side. In terms of South Korea, they've got Heung-min Son, who you've seen play quite well for Spurs. He's definitely a good player. And all you need is that one goal scorer, that one player to really lift you through. They could get a result against Mexico and Sweden and clinch that number 2 spot. You never know. But I do, if I'm going to predict it now, if I had to put money on it, I would go Germany number 1 and Mexico number 2.
And the reason I left Group E and F to the end out of all the groups to do is simply because however you look at this, the knockout stage is going to be amazing because you're going to get, even if Brazil and Germany top their groups, Germany are going to get Serbia and Brazil are going to get Mexico. So that is the one where, Germany, Serbia could be, if Serbia turn up and get out of the group, of course. You never know. Switzerland, somebody will cause a shock. Somebody will. And it could be a Switzerland, it could be a Japan, it could be a Tunisia. You just don't know. But that would be, if that goes to plan, Mexico, Brazil again. Brazil would fancy their chances, but Mexico are no slouches as well. And then, just on the Golden Boot, who are you going for the Golden Boot?
It is so difficult, isn't it? Because, it
depends on their group, doesn't it?
Sorry?
I remember in the past, it depends on your group. If you get a couple of the so-called whipping boys, then, as long as you're a decent striker, if you're getting the opportunities, you might get 3 goals where everyone else is playing tough games. So,
yeah, you could see Neymar get. Well, I don't know who's it. In their group, you could see Neymar get 2 goals against Switzerland and 2 goals against Costa Rica, already giving him 4 goals. Whereas a Thomas Müller or someone else like that might only get a goal in each game. So, like you say, it is all about the group, but I have to go with the team that I think is going to go the furthest and I think is going to win it. So it has to be, for me, someone from Brazil. And I don't think Neymar's a bad shout. I know it's a very easy option to go for, but I just think he'll be that talisman of that side, that man who's really going to bring them forward and win them games because he has got the quality to do so. So I'm going to go Neymar. It's an easy option, but I do think it'll be Neymar.
Matthew Dean says Harry Kane's got a chance. I think he has got a chance based on the fact that we've got Panama in our group and Tunisia potentially. But the problem with England is we never smash teams. So yeah, unless we're going to change and create lots of chances, I think England will scrape through. We never really smash teams in the World Cup. Belgium are in that group; they could get a lot of goals. But yeah, I think Germany probably a few goals there. Brazil as well. But it's going to be very interesting as to how it runs out. I was just thinking there, considering there's no Chile, there's no Netherlands, there's no Italy, there's no America. The layout, and it's an increased world. Well, it's not. It's still 32, isn't it? But even the most group games are pretty interesting. There's 1 or 2 that you're like, I'll still watch it. But the reality is, I think even when it hits the group stage, the knockout stages, it's going to be, game on straight away. But there's so many good games, and there's so many teams that didn't qualify. So it just shows you that, as I was saying a few minutes ago, the standard of world football, I truly believe, is improving, and that's going to make this one of the best World Cups we've seen, hopefully. Of course, the one thing we haven't said, and nobody ever talks about in their previews, whether it's on the telly or YouTube or whatever, and we are going to talk about, Xander, is nobody's really spoken about the approach to this, because what tends to happen is the group stage can be quite entertaining, gets to the knockout stage, and everyone just gets very cagey and very tactical and very tight. And that sort of happened a bit in Brazil up until Germany-Brazil. And I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that teams go and play their way, whether it's the South American way or the European way. I hope teams just go out and try and win games, because if you get into these knockout games and you're too scared to lose, it's not great for the viewer.
It's not great for the viewer, but it's better for your side, isn't it? Unfortunately for us, it is just a one knockout game. So if you go out there and sort of leave yourself slightly exposed at the back, and the opposition hit you on the counter attack, you go 1-0 down in the 70th minute, and you're in trouble, aren't you? You're out of the tournament. So unfortunately for viewers, I do feel it would go slightly cagey. But like you say, hopefully we can see some of that South American flair implemented in games with Brazil and Argentina and countries like that. So hopefully it doesn't go that way. But in terms of your side and your country and your national side, you do fear that it is better for them if it were to go that way.
Yeah. So, well, ultimately, we're getting very, very close to it now. I mean, Matthew just said that he thinks Lozano might be one of the stars of the tournament. I hope so. I'd absolutely love a team to win it who's never won it. It would be great. I wouldn't say I get bored because it's every 4 years, but I don't really want to see Germany retaining it. I don't really want to see Spain winning it again, and I don't think they will. I'm not massively into France and Belgium, if I'm honest. I mean, if they do it, fair play, but I think France lack leadership. I think Belgium lack a winning mentality. They've probably got the two best squads. Germany have got the experience, but I just want some. But the thing is, it's 7 games, and that's the problem. 7 games, at some point, you're going to have to grind out and use experience, and that's where it will come down to. Just want to remind everybody as well, we've got our World Cup predictor. It's through the United Stand, but you can do it through That's Football anyway. The link's in the video description. It's free to play through Superbrew. All you got to do is click the link, and it will take you through to our league. Just sign up, and all it is we're going to be throwing up the leagues throughout the World Cup. You score points by predicting the scores. So tomorrow, Russia, Saudi Arabia. You can predict all the games through the group stages if you want, but I just do it day by day based on form and stuff like that. If you get an exact correct score, you get 2 points. If you just get a correct score, you get 1 point. And obviously, you accumulate points day by day. And there's a leaderboard and things like that. So we're going to be linking in with that a lot. So make sure you get involved. I know a lot of people are doing fantasy football and stuff. This is a little bit different, and it's free to play. A link in the video description for that. And obviously, finally, we're literally 25 hours away now because it's 4 o'clock kickoff tomorrow. I'm doing the first game, Russia, Saudi Arabia. We're gonna go for it, and we want you to get involved. So if you are planning on watching World Cup games, we're going to be live for every single one of them. So watch the game and have your watch along on. Get involved in the live comments, especially for these sort of games. Under, I suppose, the Morocco, Irans, the Saudi Arabia, Russias. We're going to watch them. It's the World Cup. You only get a month of it every 4 years. So I've always watched them from a kid. I will watch the stupidest of game because it's the World Cup and I want to feel part of it. And if you want to feel part of it even more, what better place to do than come on That's Football. We will be live for every game. Get involved in the live comments. And if it's a little bit boring for a few minutes, we'll talk about our favourite packet of crisps and stuff like that, because that's what it is. It's just a big community watching football. Yeah, exactly. Get involved in the comments, that's all. I did England-Costa Rica the other day. It wasn't the greatest of games, I have to admit. So we just got in the comments. We're having a little chat, having a little chit-chat. So, like you say, I'm doing Morocco-Iran as my first game. Fantastic opener. But you've got Portugal-Spain, though. I do have Portugal-Spain. I can't complain. That rhymes as well, that. So, get in the comments, like Mark says. It should be fun regardless of the tempo and the excitement of the game. So, all good things coming up, chaps. All good things coming up. And I'm loving some of the comments because Magnus Olsen, who may well be Danish, says you're really underrating Denmark. I love that. I hope I am. I hope there's 1 or 2 teams that I've totally skirted over and thought, maybe it is going to be a Sweden, maybe it is going to be a Denmark or a Switzerland. I personally think Senegal might do quite. I mean, there's some interesting groups. The Colombia, Senegal, Poland group is very, very interesting, and Japan. That, who knows? The Argentina group's interesting, and I think it's going to be a really, really exciting tournament. And I certainly think the first week everyone's going to be loving it. So get involved on That's Football. We will be live tomorrow just before 4:00 for the first game, Russia, Saudi Arabia. And then I think Saturday there's 4 games from 11 o'clock in the morning. So loads and loads of games. We are sharing them out. Some days it'll be Xander more than me. Some days it'll be me more than Xander. But we're going to do every single one, and very, very excited about it. So stock up your fridge, stock up your cupboards, and get some topics ready, because we're ready. And thanks everyone for joining the World Cup preview with us. Get your comments in below. What I want to see in the comments is, who's your shock team of the tournament? Like, who's going to go the furthest as a shock? Who's going to win it? And also, who's going to be the star of the tournament? And like Matthew McFadden said, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be Messi or Ronaldo. It could be a player that James Rodriguez in the last World Cup really got.
Timo Werner for Germany, the striker. Timo Werner. Keep your eye out on him. Keep your eye on him.
Yeah, he's gonna go Bayern, isn't he? Anyway, but thanks for coming on, Xander. We're nearly there. We're nearly there. The World Cup's about to start.
Cheers, mate. Cheers for having me on. Like you say, very, very exciting stuff. And, let's get into it. That's all I'll say.
Thanks, everyone, for watching. I'll see you all tomorrow for the World Cup game and the transfer news show at midday. And are you doing a transfer show tonight, Xander?
I am, pal. And hopefully, Griezmann did say that he's going to announce his future before the World Cup. Now, Griezmann, tomorrow's the World Cup, pal. So hopefully we do get some news on that before my transfer show starts. So join me for that tonight at 7:30 UK time.
I wouldn't hold your breath, but we'll see. Anyway.